liked it on the floor.
I do like it on the floor.
Nice.
I quite like it, like, just chilling down on the floor. Makes me feel quite grounded. It's more space.
Yeah. These are outtakes, aren't they?
Outtakes.
Yeah.
Something like that.
It's
It's starting to become a completely different YouTube video.
Is it even suitable for YouTube?
I'll let them do the judging. Hello everybody!
How you doing?
What are we speaking about today, Andrew?
Today, Stephanie, what we're speaking about is how loud the music is in the background and whether or not we can edit that out.
Is that better?
That's probably a suitable level, yeah?
Suitable level.
You always want to have those cups of tea. So,
Tea, coffee, tea, coffee. Black coffee. Lots of it.
okay, so hi everybody, how are you all doing? So here we are, we're pro prep episodes. We're going to talk about choosing your show date. Now the reason we thought we'd do this episode is because we thought it was pertinent, given that we've just decided to actually change the guest spot date that myself and Stephanie will be doing our couples routine to later on in the year. And there's a few different reasons why we've changed it, and we thought, I mean, these reasons could apply to anyone doing a contest themselves. So we thought choosing the correct show date was a good idea, and probably a good idea to have more than one show date in mind as well. So like us, we were fortunate enough that we could choose another one in mind. So rather than putting all our eggs in the one basket. So have you got anything to add on that, Steph? Anything you want to say?
No, I think absolutely, like sometimes you start off a prep with a show date in mind and life throws some circumstances at you,
Sure.
or perhaps your weight loss is maybe not as fast, or there's certain elements of your prep you're kind of tweaking and they're not quite right. So you've got to be ready to make a change and not be too set and rigid at the start. Allow for, just obviously potential things that might come up, and allow yourself time to have another qualifier to choose if you need to. Obviously,
Sure.
Most people like to go into a prep and be pretty solid on the prep day and start with a good plan. You hopefully got a good prep in place with plenty of time to come in. But like Andrew and I just said, we've changed our guest spot date for numerous reasons, and kind of threw up a potential video to just talk about that, choosing your date.
Okay, so you made some really nice points here, some really important ones, I think. So the number one thing when it comes to the bodybuilding diet, the prep diet, is time. Time's your number one commodity. So if you give yourself plenty of time by choosing a show date far enough away, it allows you to be flexible. So you don't have to diet quite as potentially severely as you might otherwise if you give yourself a really sort of short window. So time's a really important one. I think we talk about that. Now I like to get in shape maybe in about 24 to 25 weeks. But that depends on how well the off season's been going prior
and
to
your starting point as well.
Yeah, and the starting point. And sometimes you can be a little bit more off than you thought you were. Sometimes weight loss is not as quick as you would like it to be, or maybe you've underestimated how much you need to actually lose with the best will in the world. I mean, you maybe not done it in a few years. You're starting in a different position from the last time. You're maybe picking up injuries, but life happens. So you've maybe got different commitments, you've got a new job, you're moving house. Things like this are going to interfere with your preparations for when you're getting ready for a bodybuilding contest. And if you've got that little bit of extra time on your side to help you when it comes to the weight loss, so you don't have to quite stick to, say, 1 pound of weight loss per week, and it can be half a pound, or you can be a little bit more flexible here and there, then that'll make a big difference.
Yeah, huge.
Potentially to your
mindset.
Your mindset as well. So do you want to add anything on that then, Steph?
No, I think as well, sometimes if you've not been managing your diet off season that well, and you're not maybe calculating your calories, etc., or they're not as on point as usual, or maybe you're guesstimating roughly where you are. So to give an example, I've been pretty strict all the way up till about maybe 3 or 4 months ago. And then I started being a lot more flexible with my food intake, and I was actually under eating calories. And I presumed that actually I was on a higher level of calories. So when I've come into my maintenance prep, I've set my calories for the beginning of my prep, I'm actually eating more than what I was then. So, of course, my body has actually it's taken a while to balance out, and my weight has been fluctuating. It's been staying around the same, but it's been fluctuating. I'm not seeing a drop yet, but that's, of course, because of numerous reasons, getting back consistency and also getting my calories back to where they actually need to be. So there's many things to consider, because you might be in that place where you're coming into a prep and you think, oh, just start on these calories and everything will work as magic. It might not. And that's why I always think it's important, and I do this with my clients as well, is you set a period of time at the beginning to allow for manipulations. So you find that steady point in your diet, your deficit, where your body is starting to slowly drop, and then you know you're on a winner. You know you can start playing from there. But it might take a few weeks, particularly for women, might take a few weeks to try and find that set point. Yeah,
it's good advice, I think, really good advice. And what you just described there is fairly typical when it comes to, certainly when I've been working with athletes in the past, it's been a case of, okay, well, let's see what you're eating in the off season, and we'll try and calculate your calories there after that for the actual diet itself. And I mean, they tell me they're eating 3,500 calories. They're maybe using a calorie tracker. And then when I've gone away and I've actually totaled up the calories, I've got them to do a food diet or something, they're eating 700 calories less than they thought. And I've got to say to them, look, we can't start on this. And actually, we're going to have to take your food up a little bit. That might mean that we get a weight stabilisation effect for a while. Maybe they train a little bit better, but it might mean that they don't actually lose any weight, and then you've got to pick a different show from to do thereafter that. So you have to be
ready for those sorts of situations, adaptations.
So that's again why time's the most important thing. Now, I mean, a lot of people pick their shows potentially for beginners just on what's around their area. So again, it might mean that you're picking a show that's slightly further away than you'd like to do. If you're doing a qualifying show for a event like a British Finals, then it might mean that you're going to have to look at more than one show. So, I mean, you can't always take things for granted that you're going to qualify for a final, so it's always good to have another one in the bag to sort of have a look forward to. You might be looking at doing multiple federations. The other thing is as well, I mean, you've got to look at your schedule and be realistic about what you can actually achieve in that window, and that comes back to the time. But if you've got weddings coming up,
or social events,
and that you can't miss these sort of things, or you don't want to go to these sort of events and stick to a diet and stuff like that, then you've got to be aware that you might have to say, okay, well, the show's going to have to be later on in the year, and that might affect what sort of conditions that you've got to hold right now, because you want to start in a different sort of place, or maybe you've just got to say, this year it's not going to work, because life doesn't stop for bodybuilding.
No, exactly. That's it. That's a really good, important point, though. That you know, when we've spoken about this before, haven't we? Like, coming into a prep is a big deal. It does take a lot away from the other areas of your life. You've got to be mentally prepared for that. Or, like Andrew was saying, if you're going to have these social events as part of your bodybuilding calendar, and they fall somewhere before or after, you know, shows, are you willing to keep strict, go to these social events and have that kind of pressure of everyone looking at you with your Tupperware box?
And
I've done it plenty of times. Oh my god!
So be prepared for weird questions that you're
weird questions, lots of staring looks, lots of like derogatory comments and some points as well. So
people don't. I mean, like,
people don't get it.
People don't get it, and they don't want to get it.
They don't want to. They're like, why are you being so weird with your plastic Tupperware and your chicken and skanky rice?
But then.
I went off on one there. Sorry,
was this someone in particular that scorned you in that particular occasion?
Oh god, I've had it all, but I'm sure a lot of people have.
But yeah, in terms of choosing your show, okay, so I mean, is it going to be a local show first and foremost?
Yeah, so like for example, where we are right now, the obvious show choice probably would be like the Scottish, the BNBF Scottish, which is in Perth. It's not too far from Aberdeen or from where I'm in, Edinburgh. That's probably logistically a good show to pick.
Yeah.
It's obviously the original option. Going back to kind of the life curveballs, you know, a relocation, moving back up, all the things that are thrown up with that. You obviously start something with the intention, but sometimes big things like moving, as most people will know, moving's an extremely big deal, can just imbalance you a little bit. Cortisol levels are a little bit up. Consistency's not quite as there. Routine's not quite as there because, of course, there's a lot of other things to consider. So for us, I guess, we were like, well, shall we consider the guest spot being a little bit later to give us that good amount of time that we both like to have that slow incremental drop to let your best to come in, and that's been like the better decision for us.
Yeah.
But logistics wise, that's usually what people first go on, isn't it? Like the closest show to where you're actually living, which makes total sense.
Yeah,
cost wise and everything else.
Absolutely. I mean, in terms of travelling to shows, I mean, I've done this many times. So I've travelled abroad, going to shows. I've travelled all over the country to do shows, and it might mean that you're sitting in a car for, say, 8-9 hours to get somewhere, like 2 days before. You've got hotel rooms.
You've got a lot more food prep to do.
You've got more food prep to do. So you have to be prepared for this sort of stuff. That if you're going to be sitting in a car for a long period of time, and your lower back might get tight, you might get stressed because of that. So I would always sort of say, give yourself plenty of time.
Exactly.
Then again, you want to make sure that you've dotted the T's and crossed the I's before you turn up on the day, and you know exactly what it is in terms of what is required for tanning, glazing. Do they have people backstage? Are they going to help you out with that sort of stuff? Is there a special kind of tan that's not banned? What time do you have to register?
Yeah.
All this sort of
stuff.
All
your timings.
So factor it in. In terms of if you've got to go somewhere you're staying away, I always sort of think that if you can get somewhere in terms of like an apartment.
Yeah, which has got like access to like
cooking facilities.
So, or at least a hotel which will have like a microwave or something like that you can use.
Yeah.
I like to always go down the night before. I like to stay over. I like to have say like a wee apartment or something.
Yeah.
So you're not rushed. You're not driving anywhere with tan on or base tans on.
Yeah, sure.
You've got everything in your bag. You can get down. You can settle. You can get your legs up. You can get your food prepared. Mindset is on point. You wake up the next day and you've got your process to go through. All of the like routine stuff that you've done through bodybuilding applies to show day. And it's imperative that you've got a plan of action in place. You know what you're doing, so it's seamless. And whether you've got somebody with you who supports you, whether you've got like a coach, and whoever that is, somebody maybe just to, keep an eye on you, check you over, or at least go through a checklist with you.
Yeah, that's
checklist.
Yeah,
so
have a checklist. Yeah.
What's a checklist for the male bodybuilder?
The male bodybuilders. The first thing that goes into my bodybuilding bag to go with me is trunks. Normally a spare pair of trunks.
You want a pair of them?
So definitely.
Or us ladies would be on the front row.
Alright, Steph.
Or is that just me? Oh God.
I think that's a different show. So
I'll just sit back and enjoy my coffee.
So we'll maybe edit that out.
Trunks.
So trunks. I normally bring my trunks, a spare pair of trunks, because I mean, if you've not got your trunks, you can't compete. So I've got my trunks, I've got my tan, I've got my glaze.
I'm just going to put a plug out there. If you want some trunks, really, really good trunks. Black Ice Bikinis, Mandy Nugent. Mandy, if you're watching this, go speak to Mandy Nugent. She's Midlands, she's Manchester based. She does an awesome pair of trunks for the guys. She does fantastic bikinis for the girls. Just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, really fit as well. Try them on. There's nothing worse than seeing
This is what I mean as well. If you can get to your designer who's going to make your posing trunks or your bikini to be measured.
Oh yeah, it makes sense.
I have not done one show where I've not been in front of the actual costume maker and had them measured. I've never ordered through an online company because I'm not convinced that they will get them to fit specific measurements and where specifically with the girls guide like women.
Oh, it makes a difference for the guys too,
and the guys. It needs to sit appropriately on your frame to maximise your shape in the poses. Don't underestimate the position of a bikini or a pair of trunks. Like they need to fit you properly.
I mean, just for example,
get them fitted. Get in front of someone. Get them fitted.
If you've got like a long waist, then really you want a thicker waistband on the trunk. I mean, that makes a difference.
Huge difference because you're thinking the amount of skin that's like.
Yeah, if you've got great glutes, particularly from the side, and you want a thinner waistband at the side, and it shows you off a little bit more. Yeah. So just subtle little differences.
Yeah, totally. The bikini bottoms for figure as well. You can have the drop back. You can have a slight scrunch at the top. And there's loads of different there's there's actual pro cut bikinis. There's not pro cut bikinis. There's loads of things that you can look at, but each one is going to be different on your physique. Yeah. This is why it's so important to get in front of an actual designer and get them fitted. So okay,
so really good points there. So in terms of what's going in the guy's bag, right? I've got all my food, so my food bag's going to be over on one side over there. I've got spare water because I know I'm going to be dehydrated at the end of this, and I've got rehydration sachets that are going to go along with them as well. Just other little things. As I said, I've got paracetamol. I've got ibuprofen as well because I'm probably going to be sore. I might get a headache or something throughout. Caffeine tablets, so I like to have Pro Plus as an aside as well. So they're just some other things. I bring with me a soap bag. So standard stuff in there because you just want to freshen up a little bit after the show as well. If you've got showers at a facility, it's great. But I normally bring multiple towels, so I'll bring one that's going to be like a rag just to get glaze off me and that I can grab at the side. I've got another one which is like an actual nicer towel on there as well. Flip-flops are really handy. I bring a change of underwear, cozy, comfy clothing.
Like baggy clothing.
Yeah, baggy clothing is typical. I would have music with me, so headphones because I like practice my posing routine as well in my head.
That's your checklist. Okay, so female checklist. Bikini, spare bikini, in case your bikini number one snaps.
Something like
it happens. Make sure you've got a backup in your bag. Tan, you want to make sure you've got your tan. You want to make sure you've got your glaze, like Andy just said. You want to make sure you've got your bikini bite.
Yeah.
Biting your bikini in. If you don't know what this is, go check it out on Google. It is a roller that's like a sticky effect that helps you keep your boobs and your glutes and everything in place, and the bikini sitting where it needs to sit so that when you're moving around, nothing's falling out. And it's essential, really is, for the girls. So that's your bits and pieces for this. It's going to sound gross, right? But I'll tell you, it's like a girl's best mate. It's like, think about it. Going to the toilet, ladies, when you've got bikini bite and you've got bikinis on, is really freaking difficult. Because then you've got tan on, you don't want any splash problems.
Are you talking about getting like a sheebie?
Yeah.
Wow. This is a world I never knew about existed.
It's not a bad idea, can I just say? It's a really, really good idea, by the way.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is.
I didn't really think about this till I was like 2 years into my competitive journey so far, and it was like a golden freaking idea.
No pun intended. No, with a golden idea.
Oh yeah, that was really bad.
Sure.
That was so bad. Oh my god. Right. Okay. Anyway, it's a great idea, girls. So get one because it saves all the problems of any splash. You're not having any issues with topping up time. The backstage of bodybuilding is not pretty. It's lots of sticky tan absolutely everywhere. Yeah. So you want to make sure that you're trying to be as clean and hygienic as possible whilst you're doing your shows. And what Andrew's saying, towels in your bag, definitely. Women, face wipes. Get lots of face wipes. You'll need them. Makeup. If you're not having your makeup done, make sure you've got all your makeup with you to touch up between shows, between the pre-judge and the evening shows. But also just generally, you want to keep yourself looking fresh and you know, the best you can on the day. Makeup wise, I'll do a whole other session on this because women need to understand how to do their face makeup. So do men. Men need to understand what to do with their tan on their face because I see so many male competitors.
Oh yeah, it's a great point.
Body is great, and then it's like this botched up thing going on on their face. Yeah, you've got
this black sort of
this kind of mud mask.
It's not great.
It's important to understand how to blend the tan into your face. We'll talk about that on another.
Yeah, I mean, we'll maybe do tan on it.
Tan is a whole thing on its own.
Yeah, definitely.
What else is in my bag? Girls, if you're doing anything with your hair, make sure you've got clips, make sure you've got your bobbles, make sure you've got all of that. Shoes, heels. Make sure you've got 2 sets of posing shoes with you if you're in the figure or the bikini or athletic classes. Bodybuilding, you don't need to wear, you're just flat, but make sure you've got your heels with you because anything can happen. I've seen this to girls as well, where you might walk on, a heel will snap, the stud on the bottom of the heel might fall out, the straps might break. Make sure you've got 2 pairs with you, same as your bikinis. And then jewellery as well. If you're going to be wearing 1 or 2 bracelets, earrings, just make sure you've got a little bag somewhere where you can keep all of that together so it's nice and neat as well.
Stuff there on contest day checklist, yeah. Really, really good stuff. Really, really good stuff for there. So, other things that we're worth talking about here in terms of choosing a show to go on.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, great point. If it's a local run show, then usually these things, what you can do is you can phone up the local promoter. There's normally phone numbers on posters. There's normally email addresses you can get in touch with on Facebook sites, and they'll be pretty amenable. They'll get in touch with you, and they'll probably give you any additional details you need. But at the very least, before you go and do that sort of thing, look on their websites, look at their rules, and read
the rules,
them,
guys.
and actually make sure because a lot
People
of these
forget you're going to do a show.
Yeah.
That has criteria and rules. It's not just a show for you to get up and show you.
Yeah.
You're going to actually participate in an organisation that has a set protocol that wants to see certain things and you want to tick those boxes.
Yeah.
And people forget this all the time. Like, I'm going to do a bodybuilding show.
Yeah.
But like, what's involved in that bodybuilding?
Yeah, go on the website. I mean, a lot of the time there's FAQs on there. They'll tell you how to do things, but just like what you were saying before, like choosing your show. Like, okay, there's different federations will want the music set in different ways. They'll want registration for the competition done in different ways. Sometimes you can do it on a day. Sometimes you've got to do it a month before. Sometimes you want the music a month.
Most need to do like a month. 2 to 4 weeks now. You've got to register.
So you've got to be a member. Maybe they take cash payment. Maybe they take card payment. It's all different.
But also, like, more and more shows now have got rules and regulations around tan.
Yeah,
makeup.
Big one.
Like, a lot of the PCA shows, you have to get your tan and your makeup done by their specifically checked makeup artists and their tanners and things like that. Same with UKBFF, same with Tubo Pros. They've all got these different affiliations now.
Yeah.
You've just got to you've got to really look. Same with BNBF. BNBF want you to use the tan that they know will show your physique to the best of its ability under their stage lights, which is the dark as tan. So you've got federations that are specifically advising you to use these different things because they know it's going to help with all the other things they've done behind the scenes, lights, staging, etc. All of this to help you showcase your physique to the best of its ability.
So you don't want to be sending emails and phoning up organisers and saying, tell me about this, tell me about this.
Yeah, like 2 days out or something.
And then they'll be like, okay, well, you can't register for this one, you've got to do the next show, or check the website, all that information is actually on there. And just agitating them before you go to a show. They'll not do you any favours.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who will help you for sure. And
of course, definitely.
If you want any questions answered, ask us, guys. We're happy to help. But yeah, promoters are really, really crazily busy people. Yeah. And closest to the show is probably not the best idea to start asking those questions when you've had quite a lot of time to do the research yourself as well. So make sure you guys go out and check all the criteria. And another wee thing as well is once you've got to your show and you've registered, etc., your show is going to give you a badge or a number. Oh yeah. And that's something you need to hold on tight to because that's
always that one either.
And they're pins, so make sure they're pinned on properly, guys. You don't want to pinning off and having a master on stage or anything like that.
It happens. Now, meet people backstage usually running these events, calling classes and things like that as well. I know there's a tendency for people to go try and relax and go to their own little world as well, but those people backstage, they're running the class. Don't annoy them, don't stress them out. Be aware what classes are going on. They'll probably not be able to tell you what sort of time scale in terms of how long a class is going to take because it's a bit of a how long's a piece of string question. Yeah. But, I mean, if you keep an eye on which classes are going on, which couple of classes is before you, and give yourself around about 40 minutes, I would say, between the time of getting yourself undressed in your posing outfit, making sure your tan's good, and then pumping up for about the last 25 minutes. Then that's 5 minutes in, then you'll be okay because that'll be alright. But I've seen many situations whereby competitors have gone missing and they've just been sitting backstage with headphones on.
They can't hear what's
going on, and they've thought that the people backstage running the events are going to be going looking for them and that the show will not continue without them. It doesn't work like that. The show will go on if you're whether you're there or not.
You've got to be in your responsibility of knowing where you need to be when. Yeah. And these shows do not have set timings. Yeah. If you've had a really long experience at one show, does not mean that same process is going to happen at another show. So you've got to be completely on point the whole time. You do. And I mean, this is the sort of thing you can ask around. You can ask different people, say, okay, well, how well do these shows run? Yeah. And that can maybe factor in your decision on, okay, which show is it that you want to do. Now, as Steph was saying, sometimes you've got a morning show, sometimes you've got an evening show, and the other alternatives is something you've got a complete straight through run through show. And actually, sometimes you get 2-day shows. Sometimes you get prejudged on one day, and then you get the evening show or the free posing routine in the next day, so round 3. And I know some federations, they don't judge that evening show, and it's all about the guests coming into the audience come to watch. But some federations do judge that round. So you really want to make sure that you're on point again in both rounds. Plus, so other things for the show itself, right? Yeah. Has your class got the full range of poses that you've practiced for? Mm-hmm. So depending on federations, you've got slight differences, subtle differences in the classes. Sometimes they have all the poses. Sometimes they don't have all the poses. Yeah, in actual fact. Criteria. Yeah. Your posing, obviously, I'm going to chime in here, but especially for the federations in the UK, literally every federation has slightly different poses. Your mandatories are mainly the same across most.
Yeah,
but when it comes to your muscular, there's 8 mandatory poses. In your bodybuilding classes, there's not 8 in some of like the figure classes, and we don't have lat spreads and things like that. Sure. But of course, you've got differences in the muscularity and symmetry rounds, and in what's required from your presentation round as well, across all of the feds. So it's really important that you know your criteria and what the federation is looking for.
So sometimes you might get to do a routine. Sometimes
60 or 90 seconds.
Yeah, depending. Sometimes you might have to do a T-walk.
T-walk or an I-walk, which is one that I know UKD, FBA and some of the other federations, PCA,
so know how to walk. I mean,
know how to walk.
It sounds obvious, but yeah, I mean...
And if you don't know, get somebody to teach you.
Yeah, so or at least practice.
Yeah, shameless plug. Come and see me, or come and see a posing coach, somebody that can actually show you how to walk properly, show you how to display your physique properly. It's just it's absolutely imperative. You've worked so hard to that day. You've got literally could be the space of less than 5 minutes on stage. Not even that. Sometimes you only get like 2-3 minutes, and in that 2-3 minutes, you need to showcase your physique to show its strengths and hide its weaknesses and make it look effortless and flawless on stage. If you haven't done your work for those few key poses on stage, then you know a lot of your work is wasted because you've not put specific emphasis on the main part, which is presenting the physique to be judged properly. So
yeah, absolutely, great point. So 6-7 months of dieting, training, the cardiovascular exercise. If you don't do the posing, then you're throwing a lot of it away.
Yeah, you are. I mean, nobody sees. Look, everybody appreciates the work that goes into getting you to stage condition on stage, but nobody sees that. What they see is the finished product. And you've got to have done some work on thinking clearly about how you want to present that physique on stage. And that's the difference between a competitor who's just getting up and winging it to a competitor who's really considered, actually I want to see where I fare in a lineup, whether that's highly competitive or whether you're just looking to see like, you know, I'm going to bring my absolute ultimate best physique package to the stage. And those competitors that do their work on the presentation, stage presentation, and how they're presenting the shapes, the aesthetic of their body, stand a mile out.
Oh yeah.
A mile out, and it can matter. It can make all the difference in the placings at the end of the day.
We spend 6-7 months, years in the gym training, those 6-7 months dieting.
Yeah.
You go on stage, you can't do a rear lat spread properly, then you lose 2 inches.
Totally.
And you can pose better, then you gain those 2 inches. And I mean, you work years and years in the gym to try and add that amount of muscle in your frame that can be lost. And some shows are won and lost by fine margins. It can come down to posing, that stage presentation in terms of the tanning, etc. A lot of things like that can make all the difference, particularly when classes are tight.
Yeah, exactly. And hitting poses on time. When the judges call it, get to the pose and get in the pose. Don't fanny around in between it. There is obviously emphasis to be put on clean transitions.
Sure.
But there's so much time spent on moving between these poses now that I don't know about you, but I see on stage, and you just think the judges are seeing hundreds sometimes of competitors in these classes, and they want to see the best physiques in the pose when they call it. So obviously this is a whole other topic we can talk about, you know, posing, etc. But moving fluidly into the next pose quickly, efficiently, but keeping your physique tight, not allowing your body to like drop out of the all of that is so important. And hit it. Because if you're the first one to hit the pose, say it's a front double bicep, you're the first competitor when they call it to do a smooth transition, get into that front double bicep, and you're there, bang. Who's going to be looking at? What are the judges going to be looking at?
Sometimes
they'll be looking at you first, and
I've seen it many a time.
Yeah.
Judging shows, you ask to see the shot. The competitor doesn't even hit the shot that you're after by the time it comes to moving on to the next pose. And if you don't do that, you can't judge them on that shot. So if you do that for 3 or 4 of your shots, and there's 8 compulsory poses, then you're not seeing half the physique.
Exactly. So,
do we need anything else, Steph? Do you think we covered a lot of stuff there in terms of post-contest meal? I mean, you've already said you're having a pizza. I mean, you need to think about this.
I love pizza, so that's one of my go-tos.
Yeah.
But you do need to think about it. This comes with experience, I think, as well.
Sure.
Don't, we can sit here and say till we're blue in the face, don't go off and binge on tons of different food.
Yeah.
Have a couple of things planned, but don't go too crazy, because your body is going to have you've been in a kind of controlled starvation almost for a long period of time, and your body is very, very consistent and efficient right now on the foods you've been eating over
Great
time.
points.
So a second you start piling in a ton of high fat, high dense, calorific, refined sugar foods, it's your body can do a lot of funny things. And this, it really does depend as well, and this is maybe not so much for the female classes, but for male classes you might have been doing some water manipulation, you might be playing around with your salts, so your body is already in a state of kind of flux, and then if you're to go and just start smashing a ton of really, really off-plan foods that you've not had yet, it can have some adverse effects for sure.
Yeah, so, I mean, for a first-time competitor, I would say sometimes it's good to have a plan, to have a little break, and try not to go mental. So just pick a nice restaurant.
Yeah, pick like a nice restaurant.
And try and not go crazy.
Yeah, have a starter, have a nice main, have a wee dessert, and enjoy it with some family and friends.
Yeah.
Maybe not like go too crazy.
I mean, one thing I often see is people will be stocking their cupboards full of junk food weeks in advance. I think that's
maybe something
setting yourself up for a fall, so you're going to, as soon as you get off stage, smash all that food in yourself and then have some more stuff. And inevitably what happens is you feel sick afterwards. You might actually physically be sick. Your guts are absolutely ruined.
You'll be really bloated and heavy. And
water retention can be really, I mean...
Yeah, you wake up in the middle of the night like Gandhi's flip-flop.
Yeah, exactly like that. Yeah, so...
Need water.
So having a plan can sometimes be a good idea, but...
Yeah, get back, obviously everyone's going to have... This is a different topic for our sides and doing all that. But, it's important that if you're going to have the evening to have some food, have it off. You might have a few things the following day, but try and get back some consistency, particularly with your water and your fluids really quickly, I would say. Don't neglect your water post-show, because the likelihood is on that day you've only been sipping anyway. Then you go and put all this food in your system, and you've not got anywhere near the volume of water that you're normally used to when you're prepping. That is if you're drinking a lot of water, which most of us do. Yeah. So get hydrated quickly. Plus, again, get the water back in.
How sore are you after the contest?
Oh my god, good point.
Yeah, like
calves, lower back, your body, actually your whole body feels tensing and you're holding, and it's like it all matters.
If you do 10 minutes on stage, just solid, pure isometric poses while you're slightly dehydrated, you're covered in tan, not had much sleep the night before, you've been doing all sorts in terms of eating funny foods or manipulating your salts or whatever it is that you've been in, you will ache the next day. I mean, it's like you've probably run a marathon, you've done like a really hard training session, your body's in bits, and then you combine that with the going on a big crazy binge, being dehydrated, like your blood pressure's all over the place. I always feel like I've got lactic acid from head to toe almost. Horrible feeling sort of stuff.
Why do we bodybuild again?
Oh, because we love it. We love the expression of the...
We love getting ripped to hell, like, standing up on stage and going, like, here we are.
That's it.
This achievement, it's awesome.
Yeah, it definitely is.
It's a good personal goal.
Definitely, it's a great personal goal. I love it myself, yeah.
Yes, snap.
Okay, so, are we calling it that, Steph?
I think so. So, that's a bit of a female and a male combined show day. We've also done some stuff on choosing your contest.
Yeah, choosing your contest.
Hopefully that gives a bit of an overview. This is a lot of stuff you guys will know already, but for those of you who don't, drop us any messages in the comments below. Subscribe. Hit subscribe. Come and chat to us on our social media. Fueled by Scott Soates, Steph Noble Figure Pro, and the Pro Prep Facebook page.
Come and chat to us at shows as well.
Yeah.
We'll be there. We're approachable. You can come chat to us.
We're a bit mental, but...
Mainly her.
Speak for yourself. Has anyone met Mushy? Bonkers. Right, so so subscribe, drop us comments, any questions, let us know, and as usual, we'll be in another city around the UK again doing our next podcast. Where will it be? Who knows?
Dundee.
Where have we not been? We might be at Body Academy in Perth one of these days.
Let's just go to Arbroath, because that's not random.
Yeah, Arbroath, Dundee, and all the Dundonians.
Arbroath Smokies, if you get in.
Oh yeah, does anyone know what they are?
Nobody knows.
No, Arbroath Smokies.
Kippers. Right.
I could do a kipper right now.
I'm sure you could. Okay, and then on that bombshell, signing out.